right, we're into another episode. That's just how I'm gonna deflect. But as we were saying, lots to get into, some boxing news. The first one, Deontay Wilder possibly leaving Premier Boxing Champions. Brian, what were your thoughts on this, and why do you think this is the case?
So Mike Coppinger reported that, and I've sort of seen this in other circles, and hopefully your camera quality comes back as we're discussing this because we might want to put this on social. Uh, I think with Deontay Wilder though, this is very interesting. So the report is that he wasn't happy about an offer he received to potentially fight Andy Ruiz, which has been the rumored next fight for both guys because both are PBC and are top contending heavyweights vying for another shot at the heavyweight championship and the top two contenders according to the WBC. And this fight was sort of mandated to happen, and now because of the offer that he got that he apparently didn't appreciate,
Yeah.
he's starting to field other offers and starting to look at other options. I don't know if it wasn't made clear if he's looking for other options to fight Andy Ruiz because he hasn't seemed very excited about the fight in general, or other options to potentially fight a fight, period. And I'm hoping that fuck the Anthony Joshua 3-fight plan. And I hope that Anthony Joshua, after beating Jermaine Franklin as we expect, although I wouldn't we talked about this last
Don't just
week.
count him out. Yeah, you can't
Right,
just count
right,
him out.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't just count Jermaine Franklin out.
Not
But
against Anthony Joshua.
not against, not against Anthony Joshua, right? But I would say that I hope that what we get out of this is Deontay Wilder. He could fight in April. That's fine. I would love for him to fight Andy Ruiz still. But I want Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua because I've been wanting this fight since at least 2018. At least. And I've also maintained that Deontay Wilder would knock him out. So that's where I'm at with this.
Yeah, I think the main thing for this one is that there's not enough money for both sides for it to be agreeable. These guys are both former heavyweight champions. And it makes me kind of question, like, what are the budgets for this fight? Obviously, Wilder would be the A side for this, would he not?
Easily.
He would definitely
Yeah.
He would be the A side. Also, the IBF did order Ruiz and Hrgovic for the interim heavyweight title. So I think it's more likely we get that fight. Because at one point, Ruiz was like, nah, I'm not going to take that fight. But it seems like that fight is more likely. So the big question is, who does Wilder fight? Who do you want to see him go up against if he's not going to fight a guy like Andy Ruiz?
Well, first of all, I'm not sure how excited people are going to be for Hrgovic versus Andy Ruiz if that, in fact, what does happen next. And the way we know boxing is probably what's going to happen, right? And then Deontay Wilder will fight another Robert Helenius type of opponent, and then everyone's going to move on. And then here we are. Look, this is why Lou DiBella ranted in our interview with him about fighters, just kind of like positioning themselves and taking these type of fights instead of being in 50-50 fights or close to 50-50 fights. And then on top of that, you have guys not being that active, and then where they are active, it feels like, and this is not something he said, this is what I'm saying, when it feels like they are active, it's like every other fight is a tune-up fight, or every damn fight is a tune-up fight. It's like you're tuning up for what? You're just kind of staying busy at this point. So if you look at the heavyweight rankings of the WBC in particular, we'll use those because that's where Deontay Wilder is number 1. Andy Ruiz is number 2. Frank Sanchez is number 3. I'd be excited for that.
I'd be down for Wilder and Frank Sanchez.
But he's a PBC fighter.
which means that, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Boxing politics.
If he doesn't like the offer for Andy Ruiz, he's not going to get as much money to fight Frank Sanchez as he's going to get to fight Andy Ruiz.
But I feel like he might get a little bit more money than he would, because at the same time, like, yeah, Deontay Wilder is the A side, but Andy Ruiz is still a top heavyweight in the world. Whereas Frank Sanchez is still kind of building that name to be that guy. Like, he hasn't been in any massive blockbuster fights yet.
No, his biggest fight was on the undercard. Actually, he's been on multiple Deontay Wilder undercards. Yeah. One against Carlos Negron, my Puerto Rican brother, that got knocked out in October. And then he was also on the undercard of another Deontay Wilder fight, the last one against Tyson Fury, where he fought F.A. Ajagba. And Ajagba was super tentative in that fight and was also dropped by Frank Sanchez. And then if you continue going down the rankings in terms of what people would want to see, Anthony Joshua's fifth, but Anthony Joshua has a plan. And I think Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua should fight each other, right? Like Eddie Hearn claims to want that. And I think that's something that should happen. And I'm going to say this and then toss it back to you so that we can move on to our next topic, because that one's pretty fascinating. But Deontay Wilder, if he's not going to fight Andy Ruiz, and I know Anthony Joshua has a fight coming up, and I'm running out of heavyweight contenders at this point, like, instead of Anthony Joshua fighting Jermaine Franklin and then fighting Dylan White, just give Deontay Wilder the Dylan White fight. And I would love to see if he's truly fielding offers.
Yeah,
this isn't going to happen, but whatever, because it's boxing, it's not going to happen. But if he's truly fielding offers, why can't Eddie Hearn step in and try to make Wilder versus White in like May or something, and then Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder could fight each other in the fall?
well, that's my whole beef with it. And that kind of goes back to Lou DiBella's conversation, is like, these guys are being so inactive. When they don't end up fighting, they become extremely inactive. So the thing about it is, if Ruiz fights Hrgovic, which is very likely to happen, then Deontay Wilder doesn't have a guy to fight against up until maybe Anthony Joshua's fight against Jermaine Franklin. So how long are we waiting for Deontay Wilder to fight? And are we only going to see him once this year? So I agree with you, give him the Dylan White fight, but at the same time, boxing politics, will it happen? Is he going to leave PBC? These are all of the questions. And of course, on the mandatory, this is the interactive show. So we want to hear your thoughts. Drop them on YouTube. Also hit us up on our social media platforms. Now, one guy that